Welcome to the lecture on recap all the variable concepts. So in this lecture we're going to recap all the concepts that we have seen in one program. So this way you remember all the concepts, and if you want to refer back to the variable concepts you can go to this lecture directly. Okay, so in the logical flow and the deliverables will have one file to be created as deliverable variable concepts.php, and we'll recall all the variable concepts one by one. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this file. So first we learn how to define a variable. Okay, we say name is equal to John Smith, and we use a dollar sign to define a variable. And we learn variables can be used as string and integer. Means you can define message as 1, you can define message as PHP the best. You can echo the message, and you can use a dot operator to separate the text. Then we looked at double quote and single quote. So print variables with double quotes. So we used echo. And convert it into single quotes. I won't print the variable. Next we learned about variable typing. This is basically converting the string to integer. And vice versa. Okay, so let's look at that example. So we have a variable length, let's make this as a string. So this is a typing wherein we are multiplying a string with an integer, and then the conversion of string to integer is taken care by PHP. Then we looked about variable is case sensitive. So if you define one more name, Walter White, and then we print it, then we'll see two values, one from the lowercase n and one from the uppercase n. Then we looked at variable scope. Right, we had a counter is equal to 1, then we defined a function show counter, then we see counter is equal to 2, and then we echo the counter value. Then we had show counter, then we have counter, yes, Okay, this will help you to understand what is the scope of the counter inside and outside the function. Then we saw global variables. Okay, it's the same example. I say global, I say count. So even though you define as a global variable as count, you can still not access it. You have to say global $count, and then now when you assign the value, it's going to refer back to the global variable. Then we looked about static variable. We had counter static method. We have a static variable, and then we print the count. And then we will increment the count. Okay, and then we'll call this method. That will print all the count in sequence. Then we talked about predefined variables. You can say print global variables, and we can use the super global variable echo dollar count. The global variable is count here. You can use that. Then we also looked about variable of variables. Count of count is equal to, let's say, count okay, and you want to print the count of count. This will print the count value, okay, which is nothing but the count value that you have defined previously, this count value. Okay, so you are accessing this variable via this variable. Okay, and then we looked at ESET function. So you can say ESET $$ count of count. Okay, so let's execute this file. So we hit into one error, and that's saying unexpected, line number 35. Obviously we have to define the counter variable first, and then we have to define assign the value to the global variable, right? So that solves the problem. So let's review one by one. So we have a name variable, and we have the integer and string, and we printed the message. Then the message variable was previously integer, then it became string. Then we printed the two variables with double quotes and single quotes. So first time we saw the variable value, second time we saw the variable name itself. Then we have variable typing, string to integer multiplication works fine, and we see the variable case sensitivity wherein we have two different variables having the same name and different case. Then you have scoping, then you can see the counter value 2 and then the 1. Okay, then you have global variable, that's basically your counter 1, then the counter 2, that's why you're able to see 2 here, right? Then you had static variable, we can print this 3 times just to see the output, 1 2 3, right? And then you are able to access the global variable 2 with the predefined variable, and count of count, which is nothing but variable of variables, you are able to access that too. So we haven't printed this, so let's print this also as well so that we can see this value, right? So we should see 1 more 3 here. So that's basically accessing the global variable, and then we are trying to access the count. So count is a local variable, count, this one is a global variable. Okay, so that's why you see 2 values. And then variable is set, yes, the variable is set, that's why we are able to see the value. All right, the output is not much important, but you have to understand how to use them, right? What we try to learn in this section, and how to use these concepts when you write PHP program. And you have to understand like variable typing, variables of variable, global variables, predefined variables, all these concepts you have to have some hands-on, and you have to understand how it works. Okay, so that's all for this lecture, and I'll see you in the next one.